What's going on, guys? It's your boy Sailor Turned Gamer, and we are back in the building coming at you with another Dauntless video. Yes, guys, I am coming at you with my Smoldering Thunder build. I have so many repeater builds, so they're pretty much never gonna run out. This is one of my favorite builds to use when I'm using the repeaters because Molten is just fun. That's kind of first and foremost, and it's so good against a lot of behemoths, especially Scorched Stone. I mean, all that fire damage that you could be taking if you didn't have Molten, yes. And the thunder that brings this whole build together. Predator is amazing, and combining that with Cunning and Conduit, which is some of my favorite perks in the game, and it's just icing on the cake when you hit them with some of our repeater abilities, the piercing, full bore to be exact, using that in combination with our lantern and rage hunter is amazing. Well, I'm going to break down the build and then we'll hop into some gameplay like usual, and I'll break down my particular style of play when using this build, and this is going to be awesome. So first up, I'm going to talk about the repeaters, our weapon of choice. The barrel, of course, guys, you guys know the deal when it comes to the repeaters. The barrel is pretty much dependent on whatever behemoth is going to be facing. Like whatever behemoth you're going to have the advantage against, that's going to be what you're going to go with. But as far as the modifications, always Captain's Grip. I still have not found a pure reason to go with anything other than that. You need to change up Saboteur's grips, and until they make a change, Captain's Grip is bar none. Like, it's the best. And full bore chamber is what we're going with. I mean, you can get some big numbers with full bore chamber. It's super amazing and fun to use, and that's what we're rocking. Searing Prisms, one of the best prisms in the game for offensive damage purposes. If that's your goal for the build, then this is one of the best to go do it with, especially with the attack speed that you're going to get from the Molten Conduit combination. It's pretty good. Lucky Magazine is also something that we're going with. I typically like to use this when I'm using something like Cunning. If I'm using Cunning in the build with the repeaters, then I like to use Lucky Magazine because I like to stack the crit chance. So if I'm getting 15% crit chance just from having Cunning, and for every one of my rounds that go down, I'm going to get an additional 2% crit chance. I got a good chance at getting crit damage. So that's why I like to run with that. So let's talk about the actual perk combination and how they're going to work. I'll go in depth with them. So of course we have our +6 conduit, which we are getting the conduit from our 2 slots at the bottom on our Scry of Thorns. There's a conduit, and then we put it on a Drask Eye. Drask Eye is going to be clutch for this build because it's going to give us that 30% increased damage, which we use in combination with full bore. I'll explain that a lot later. And then we have our hold, which is our thunder. That's where we're going to hit them with a lightning bolt. It's going to pierce through them as well. And more importantly, with the piercing that it's going to do, we're going to get a huge attack speed boost. So that's going to be really, really nice. We have Rage Hunter that we're putting on here with our Hail Bracers. And then we also have Molten that we have in our Predator pieces. Predator is clutch for pretty much any repeater build that focuses on doing damage because of the 35% increased damage that you're going to get after not getting hit. Now, that doesn't mean stay far away. All that means is that you're going to do extra damage from not getting hit. You still want to be up close and in the fray when you're actually fighting. That's why I chose to put evasion on our repeaters, and that's going to give us a 21% increased dodge window. Now, in my opinion, for the repeaters, evasion is clutch, agility is clutch. Those are some of the best ones. But for this particular build, seeing that we couldn't max out on our mobility, I wanted to go with evasion to help us out, to give us that little bit of extra dodge during those moments where you might need it. And that is why we decided to go with that particular move. Molten, again, I can't speak highly enough on Molten. It is amazing. You get movement and attack speed for, I think it lasts about 8.5 seconds, and it's stackable too. So while the attack and movement speed may not stack, if you get another Molten, the cooldown on it, that 8.5 seconds, I believe it should reset. So it's amazing. Go with it if you can put it in your build. Cunning, of course, I've talked about cunning a lot. We want to get that crit chance up because we want to use our crit chance in combination with full bore, and we want to use that in combination with our Drask eye that's going to spike our damage up when we use our full bore, plus using that hold ability that's going to really rev up our engines, get us firing really fast, and then put us in a position of where every time our shots go down, we have even more crit. It's a pretty fun build to go with. So I'm going to hop into some gameplay so you guys can check it out and see how fun it is, and I'll break it down. Alright guys, so we are going up against a Firebrand Chirag. We're doing a... Whoa, accidentally got hit. But remember, your first shot, you're going to light up your Molten, so you always want to shoot and then roll back. You want to stay within range so you can get your reload. As soon as you have it, pop your instant ability, go straight for that full bore. Go straight for that full bore to do the maximum amount of damage. Throw out your empowering whenever you have them, and then use your instant. Use your instant whenever you have it. Use your hold also whenever you have it, because you want to make sure that you are building up your charges. I know I'm far away, but you want to try to get those Moltens, especially on fire-based behemoths. Of course, you always want to work your way to the back, because you want to try to maximize the amount of damage you can do when you do your piercing. You always want to remember to roll backwards, because if you can roll backwards, you can grab those. Be sure whenever you use your full bore, you want to always use your full bore when you're behind them so you can maximize the piercing. It's great when they get angry, because when they get angry, we do more damage. Don't be afraid to roll. You do have repeaters. So obviously with the repeaters, you're not a stamina based class, so do not be afraid to roll to move. I never put my repeaters away unless we are really far away from the action. It's okay to roll. Always reload within range. Oh, I just fell off. Sometimes that happens when you're using full bore. Sometimes that happens. You use full bore and you fall off. Well, you got to deal with the consequences. So, a part of this lesson is to be cognizant of your surroundings when using full bore, because it does have that knockback, and you can get knocked back, and you could be in a position like yours truly and fall off the edge. Luckily for us, we were also in a position where the behemoth was close to the respawn area, but sometimes it's not always that way. So just be careful with your surroundings. Remember that when Molten activates, it's gonna activate behind you, so you have to be incredibly careful with that. And I did it again. Wow, guys, I did it again. Be careful. Be careful of those surroundings, because you can and you will fall off. You will be a victim of that. That is like the most important thing when it comes to using full bore in an open area environment. As you see, real life, no lies. We did that twice. 2 times in a row, we were not cognizant of our area, and we literally just bolted right off. Again, remember when full bore, when the Molten procs, it procs directly behind you. So always remember to shoot as close as you can to the enemy, and then you roll backwards to get that. Which is why it's incredibly important on first contact to be as close as you can, so when you roll backwards, you're not incredibly far away from the combat. Just like that. Look at that, we roll backwards, but it's fine. We're close to the enemy. Oh wow, I forgot about that. But it's completely fine. And remember, now we're in the enclosed area. All you gotta do, get behind them, light that off. And once you're behind them, you can just get back to firing. It's a beautiful thing. This build really lives on that Rage Hunter and on this Molten having this attack speed. His fire doesn't know, he doesn't even know what to do. Look at that, he is mad, and that's okay. That's okay, he can be mad. He can be mad all he wants. We're doing extra damage. Even though he's pissed, even though we're getting caught in these reloads, we're doing a whole lot of extra damage. And this is where we live, this is where we make our bread. Make sure you stay within that red reticle so you can maximize the amount of damage you do. Also your reloads, you want to make sure you do that. Stay within the red. And the fire brands down. Now using this build is a cakewalk when it comes to any type of fire or blaze behemoths, because we have a severe advantage with molten and that flame protection. So this is something that you should definitely switch to if you are a repeater player and you want to have an easier time with dealing with all of those flame spots for the fire behemoths. But more so importantly, the Rage Hunter comes into key in combination with Drask Lantern and the piercing damage. Now the piercing damage does so much damage, but if there's one thing that I can say to you guys in a real life situation when it comes to playing Dauntless is be very cognizant and aware of your surroundings, because like you guys saw, you can and you will fall off if you're not careful when you're activating your full bore. It's a real thing. But other than that, always remember the goal is to be behind him, because if you're behind the behemoth, they can't headbutt you. But be careful, because obviously a lot of the behemoths do have tail swipe mechanics. But the important thing is to try to be behind the behemoths or in front of them when activating your full bore, so that way your shots can pierce directly through. In combination of the cunning and the lucky magazine and activating the instant ability on Drask for that 30% increased damage, you will be in a really great spot when it comes to dealing with the behemoth. So just keep that in mind, and this build will take you places. I have a lot more builds coming down the pipeline, repeater builds and other weapon builds as well, and we got a lot more things coming down as well. Check out our latest video. There's so much news coming to Dauntless, and stay up to date and aware on everything. As always, there will be a written build in the description box below, and be sure to like and share and join the fleet if you enjoyed the video. With that being said, this sailor will be out in the open ocean. Catch you guys in the next video. Peace.